Hello everyone, I'm Captain Shar. I'm mostly a retro gamer, but sometimes I play modern games and sometimes I react to stuff. This is one of those times. This is Men Went Sent Because of Us. And I had the feeling this should my stuff because I react to Shuan Head sometimes. But anyways, it's by Green Text Gems. Anyways, let's hop into it. I have no idea what to expect from this. And if you're seeing this, it means I made it to YouTube. If not, then
Be me, 45 years old, tenured professor of women's studies at a respectable state university. Spent 23 years of my life dedicated to creating spaces where women could speak without interruption, where our voices mattered, where we could call out problematic behavior without fear. Always saw myself as one of the reasonable ones, the intellectually rigorous ones. Published papers on consent frameworks, workplace equity, the importance of believing women's experiences. Never screamed at men on street corners, never demanded ridiculous things, just wanted fairness and safety. Thought I was building bridges while dismantling harmful structures. Winter semester just started. Noticed something odd in my upper-level seminar. Usual dynamic completely absent. Used to be that male students would occasionally challenge readings, create discussion, sometimes mansplain, but at least engage. Now, the 7 guys in my class of 30 just sit there. They take notes. They turn in assignments. They say absolutely nothing.
awkward pause.
Not hostile silence, not resistant silence, just nothing. One kid, Marcus, used to participate regularly last year in my intro course. Smart guy, thoughtful, would sometimes push back on readings in ways that actually enriched discussion. Now he just stares at his laptop. After 3rd week of this, I keep one of them after class.
Almost sounds like they're broken already.
Andrew seems approachable. Ask him why he's not engaging with the material. He looks uncomfortable, shifts weight between feet. Finally says the readings are interesting, and he's learning a lot.
Okay.
Press him a bit. Say, I notice none of the men are participating. He does this weird smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Says it's probably better if he just listens and learns. Thanks me for my time and leaves before I can ask anything else. Something about that interaction bothers me for days.
It sounds like what Shu said, the girl boss too close to the sun. And the world's basically an HR world now.
Mention it to my colleague Richard in the sociology department. Richard is 60, been teaching forever, generally supportive of my work.
Okay, that
He
was
gets
weird.
this look on his face, like he's been waiting for someone to notice something. Tells me he's been tracking enrollment and behavioral patterns for a paper. Shows me his preliminary data. Male enrollment in courses taught by women faculty has dropped 17% over 6 years. In courses specifically about gender, sexuality, or women's topics, male enrollment down 32%.
Wow.
Participation rates among enrolled men down even more dramatically. Office hour visits from male students to female faculty down 41%.
Wow.
He shows me survey data he's been collecting. Anonymous responses from male students across departments. They describe calculating which professors are safe, which classrooms might contain social landmines. One response stays with me, from a 23-year-old engineering student. He wrote that he wanted to take a class on gender and literature because the books looked interesting. Decided against it because he couldn't risk saying the wrong thing, having it
Yeah.
interpreted as threatening or ignorant, becoming an example of what not to do.
Yeah, and that's a big thing nowadays too. People, like, not even classes, just everywhere. Everyone kind of fears of, everyone kind of tiptoes on the metaphorical eggshells now. Like, even I myself will stop myself from being my typical unhinged self and say things I should, like, even on here, like, the world's changed a lot in the last decade, I guess I could say. I've been around for almost half a century now. That's, I don't know how to feel about that one. But no, like, yeah, a lot of things have changed. Like, it's very much, you say the wrong thing and people will either record you or they will take you to whatever and you're liable to get expelled, lose your job, etc. if you say the wrong thing because, yeah.
Another one, business major, 20 years old. Described being interested in a female professor's research, wanted to ask about mentorship. Didn't, because he'd have to request one-on-one meetings and he wasn't going to put either of them in that position. Position, he called it. Like meeting with a professor was a dangerous situation to avoid. I tell myself, this is one data set, one colleague's research, probably not representative. Start paying more attention though.
Are you sure?
Notice that my teaching assistant, female graduate student, gets way more questions during her office hours than I do. Male students line up to ask her things they could ask me. Bring it up to her, trying to sound casual. She hesitates, then admits male students have told her they feel more comfortable asking her questions.
I also wonder now if this is also a power dynamic thing too. Because the teachers got more pull, per se. I really wish this would not break.
When she asks why, they say things like she seems more approachable or they don't want to bother me. But she knows it's something else.
The thing also has awkward pauses, so I have the feeling it's a text-to-speech reader or AI reading this. I cannot tell anymore. Like, I'm at the point now where it's getting hard for me to tell what is real now and what's not.
Can feel it too. Start noticing it everywhere once I'm looking. University implements mandatory mentorship program for junior faculty. Department chair quietly tells me that 3 different early career men requested male mentors specifically. When pressed, they gave vague reasons about similar research interests. But their research interests aligned more closely with mine than with the men they requested. The chair looked tired when he told me this, like he's been managing these invisible tensions for a while. Go to Department Mixer. Try to network with new male faculty hire. Conversation is polite, professional, brief. He positions himself so we're visible from multiple angles. Doesn't step closer when the room gets loud and we can't hear each other. Maintains this careful distance. I'm not imagining it. This is deliberate. Contrast it with how he talks to my male colleague later. They're relaxed, laughing, standing close. The ease of it, something starts gnawing at me.
I think I'm right. I think this is the whole HR world thing coming back like in full circle. And someone's realizing it for the first hand.
Decide to do what I always do when I need to understand something. I research. Spend weeks going through studies I normally wouldn't read. Data on young men's social behaviors, relationship patterns, workplace anxieties. Numbers are staggering. Men aged 18 to 30 reporting romantic relationships down to historic lows.
I think that's everyone in the world.
Surveys showing...
The relationship things being down to historic lows, that's also not just because of this, though. Like, we're living in a world that's increasingly getting harder to keep, like, work, keep jobs, have actual money, because the cost of living is so high now. Everywhere. It's not just, like, one country. It's basically everywhere now. Like, I know I joke about the damn stock market crash and all that thing, but it's almost like we're headed to that road, unfortunately, again. Majority of men never approaching a woman in public settings. I remember that from Shu.
Majority of young men now never approach women in public settings. Workplace studies showing male colleagues increasingly refuse to travel alone with female colleagues, won't meet behind closed doors, always keep third parties present.
Man, I don't know how I'm still going, because I basically do the complete negative opposite of everything that's happening here, because I don't know if it's because I'm old and I'm at the point in my life where I stopped giving a shit about a lot of things. Like, if something happens, people are gonna know, because I am completely, like, not crazy, I guess you could say. I don't know how to put it else to put it. I am not, like, a crazy person.
Rates of young men reporting having no close friends up dramatically. Emotional isolation metrics through the roof.
Again, when did was all this study happening? Because I don't know how long ago it was, because also COVID broke a lot of that too. The whole world problem there broke the isolation problem there too. Like, rates of young men reporting having no close friends up dramatically. Well, I don't know about that one. That one's I don't know. Making friends is not easy either, because I see it all the time, and I don't know if it's clickbait or genuine in some of the stuff I see online.
cross-cultural data showing this pattern across multiple Western countries. Find research about men's support groups, the conversations happening there, themes of fear, withdrawal, calculated risk avoidance. They describe every interaction with women as potential threat to their education, career, reputation. Describe running cost-benefit analyses on simple human interactions. One study includes quotes from interviews with men who've completely stopped dating. 26-year-old says he went on 3 dates in past 2 years. All disasters. Not because of incompatibility, but because he was so anxious about saying the wrong thing that he could barely speak. Another one, 22, describes liking a classmate but never acting on it. His reasoning: even if she's interested, the risk of misreading signals and making her uncomfortable isn't worth what it might cost him.
I made the mistake in high school. I will say it. I will tell a little story. I made the mistake in high school of basically not dating at all because my worldview at that point was, well, if I don't date anyone, I myself can't get hurt. However, in the long term of things, by not doing anything, I realized the hard way. I felt a lot more guilt by not doing anything or participating basically in a lot of life events that I can no longer experience basically. So yeah, even though there's a risk involved in approaching someone, even in this day and age with HR world basically breathing down your neck, you should still maybe attempt to do it as long as you're not being a weirdo about it. I'm pretty sure things will be fine for you. Like, they can't just fire you if you just talk to someone, really. Or if you try to anyways. This is like, if that's the case, then that workplace was not for you to begin with.
Talks about it like a math equation. Probability of positive outcome versus magnitude of negative outcome. Negative outcome includes being reported, having reputation destroyed, losing educational opportunities. Math doesn't work out in favor of trying.
Math doesn't really work when it comes to emotions either. You can't just really turn it into a quantification. Because feelings and stuff kind of overrule logic, at least from my experience anyways. If you want to take that shot with someone and potentially really like them, yeah, your judgment on that's going to change a lot. But these people are just kind of living in fear still.
Read about college men who won't study with female classmates alone, won't offer to walk anyone to their car, even when it's late, and parking lot is dark.
Parking lot. But anyways, this is also another reason though, because there are some bad people out there that will take advantage of this kind of stuff if it's a one-on-one scenario and frame the other person just for attention or clout, basically. So I can understand from both sides here.
Taught that women's safety is paramount. Interpret that as meaning their presence is potential threat to that safety. Logical conclusion is to remove themselves. Start thinking about my own work, my own words. 23 years of teaching about power dynamics, about believing women, about how men need to recognize their capacity to intimidate and harm. All true, all important, all necessary. But what did those words sound like to 18-year-old boys sitting in classrooms? Boys who were trying to be good, who didn't want to be threats, who took the lessons seriously. We told them to be aware of their power and the fear they could inspire. We told them that women's comfort and safety had to come first. We told them that impact matters more than intent. We told them that they needed to listen, not speak over, not assume. We told them about all the ways their predecessors had failed and harmed. What we didn't tell them was how to actually interact after. Internalizing all of that.
Yeah, you guys fucked up, that means. You guys basically taught these young minds all this stuff, and basically now you fucked up. You gotta basically fix what you fucked up.
Didn't give them a framework for positive engagement, just a detailed map of every possible way they could screw up. Boys who were paying attention, who were sensitive, who actually cared about doing right. Those boys went silent, withdrew into themselves because that seemed like the safest option for everyone.
Yeah, I went, again, I'm from a different era. High school for me was a wild time again. I I won't get into details, but I've had a few times that I got suspended for stuff that I did not do, but whatever. It is the past. Yeah, I can understand them withdrawing into themselves because it seems like the most logical choice there is if I just do my class, get in, get out, get my education, then nothing can ill will can befall me because I'm just there to do my thing. But as a person, we're social creatures, so it kind of messes you up mentally. So,
The ones who didn't listen, who didn't care, they're probably fine. Still approaching women, still taking up space, still confident. We filtered for the worst ones by accident. Made environment where only men who ignore social feedback continue to engage. The thoughtful ones are gone. Sit in my office one afternoon, surrounded by these studies and data sets. Feel something cracking inside my chest. Dedicated my entire adult life to creating better world for women, to making spaces safer, to amplifying voices that had been silenced. Believed so deeply in the righteousness of this work. Never meant for any of this. Never wanted boys to grow into men who are afraid of human connection. And it never wanted women to inherit world where decent men have retreated into protective silence.
yeah, I'm definitely thinking this is AI voiceover because it has these little hiccups.
Never wanted to create new barriers while tearing down old ones. Think about my own son. He's 28 now. Hasn't had serious relationship in 5 years.
Even though I'm technically not part of this group, I don't know anymore because I'm so, I hate to say it, but I am so old that when the last time I dated, there was no smartphones, there was no AI, I don't even know if we had streaming services yet the last time I dated. Shit. Like, I don't even think YouTube was a thing yet. Like, so you basically literally had to go up to someone, get their phone number just to have a conversation with them, or get, I believe, their MSN Messenger thing. Their MSN Messenger handle or something, because I don't think we had much back then in terms of, like, really doing stuff, but there was still very much, if you did something wrong, all eyes were on you. So I don't know. It just feels like it's worse.
Told
now.
me last Christmas that dating seems too complicated, too risky, easier to just focus on work and hobbies. He laughed when he said it, thought he was just being picky. Now, I wonder what calculations he's running in his head. What did he learn from me? From growing up with mother who taught about consent and power and men's capacity for harm. Think about my nephew, college sophomore. Visited last month, mentioned he sits in back of all his classes now. Doesn't ask questions anymore. Said something about not wanting to be that guy. I asked what guy. He shrugged, said I wouldn't understand. Maybe I'm starting to. Find myself crying at my desk, door locked, lights off. Not delicate tears, full body sobs. This wasn't supposed to happen. We were supposed to create understanding, not fear. Supposed to build connections, not destroy them.
Yeah, but teaching anything in this day and age is not as easy as just telling people stuff. Like, you can tell people stuff all you want, like, but it all depends on, like, how you deliver that information and how those people you're teaching reciprocate, and everyone's going to be different. So it's not like you can teach the same course for everyone and everyone's going to get it. So, like, it's a difficult slope to try to navigate when you're teaching these things. Like, and society changes so fast these days with everything being digital, and I feel like the social media empires, more or less, are molding people into ways we shouldn't have ever been. Because with our dependence on the internet and whatnot, and a lot of people's connections to friends is online now, it's a strange world to me to look at, because I had the experience of existing before this world, more or less, that we're in now.
Supposed to make things better. Remember, Conference I attended 3 years ago. Workshop on addressing male resistance in feminist spaces. We strategized about how to handle men who went quiet in discussions. Interpreted silence as hostility, as fragility, as passive aggression. What if it wasn't resistance? What if it was retreat? What if they were doing exactly what we asked, making space, not dominating conversation, listening instead of talking, and we interpreted their compliance as defiance?
Well, that's on them for interpreting things the wrong way instead of like they didn't have to talk to them face to face. They could have like made a survey that could have been anonymous, like an anonymous survey kind of way to the class. That way people could fill out certain things, not to write down their names, just so they could get a generalized idea of how things are too. Like, and don't even use it by handwriting. Do it by typing. That way, there's no handwriting to identify you, more or less. That way, the teachers here could have gotten a better idea of what the heck's class going on about, like how the guys and how overall class feels by just kind of doing a rough estimation of all of the responses, more or less, because then you could basically get, I'm trying to use words here, basically get a calculated idea of what your class is doing and how you're teaching, kind of thing. I don't know. Basically, it's just feedback that way, anonymous feedback, more or less.
Keep researching. Can't stop now. Find data on workplace mentorship. Senior men increasingly refuse to mentor junior women. Cite concerns about perception, about time alone, about misunderstandings. We fought so hard for women to have access to mentorship and advancement. Now, watching it slip away as men choose protection over support. One survey of male executives, they show 73%. Now uncomfortable with one-on-one meetings with junior female employees.
I can understand.
They're not monsters. They're not discriminating out of hatred. They're terrified. Did cost-benefit analysis and decided their careers and reputations aren't worth the risk. Exactly what we taught them to do. Assess risk and respect boundaries. But application creates new form of exclusion. Women can't advance without mentorship and sponsorship.
So yeah, they basically now created this new world problem that that is a tough one, because if they are doing exactly what you asked of them, like you did your job very well, like you did teach them, but I guess it's one of those things that you didn't know what was going to happen until actually some results came of this course, kind of thing, this new way of teaching. I don't know. I'm not a teacher. I haven't been a teacher in a long time.
Men won't provide it anymore because environment we created makes it too dangerous. Everyone loses. Start drafting paper about these findings. Want to sound alarm. Want people to understand what's happening. Write about unintended consequences. About overcorrection. About losing generation of young men to fear and isolation. Show draft to close colleague, woman I've worked with for 15 years. She reads it in my office. Expression getting darker. Finally looks up and asks if I'm seriously blaming feminism for men's bad behavior. Tried her. Explain that's not what I'm saying. She cuts me off. Says men choosing to isolate rather than learn to behave appropriately is on them, not us.
I don't know, her coworker sounds like she's one of the hardcore people. I know, there's not really a side in this, but it's coming off that way.
Says if men are scared, it's because they know they can't get away with things anymore. Says this is what accountability looks like and I should know better. We argue for an hour. She leaves angry, doesn't speak to me for 2 weeks.
Whatever.
Realize I can't publish this. Would be professional suicide. Would betray everything I'm supposed to stand for.
Maybe, but maybe it would be professional, game over, because I can't really say that word on YouTube. However, is it the right thing to do to still publish it, though? That's the bigger question.
But how can I not say something? Spend nights lying awake thinking about all of it. Taught thousands of students over 2 decades. How many young men sat in my classes and absorbed messages that made them afraid of themselves? How many women will grow older in a world where half the population has learned to keep careful distance? Remember specific lessons I taught. Unit on microaggressions. Taught students to recognize all tiny ways men dominate space and conversation. Taught about eye contact duration, about standing too close, about unsolicited conversation as potential harassment.
Huh.
Male students taking notes, nodding along, internalizing, then applying those lessons by avoiding eye contact, maintaining distance, never starting conversations. Perfect students did exactly what we taught. Lesson on workplace dynamics. Discussed how men need to recognize power differentials. Talked about how senior men can't see junior women as mentees without examining their own potential for abuse of power. Meant it as call for self-awareness and appropriate boundaries. They heard it as warning to stay away entirely.
Yeah, that does sound accurate to... Sorry, my hair is like everywhere. But there's gotta be a right way to get around fixing this.
On consent. Spent weeks on importance of enthusiastic, yes, on how silence isn't consent, on responsibility to ensure comfort. Watched male students become more conscientious, more careful. Also watched them become paralyzed. If anything short of enthusiastic, verbal yes is insufficient. And if asking directly seems aggressive, what's left? Apparently,
Basically, you do nothing, you become silent, and like I said, you just do your job and leave, basically. You learn your course, you leave. There's nothing else to there. There is no social interactions or anything. It's just basically... Alright. This is depressing.
answer is nothing, do nothing, say nothing, want nothing. Safest choice. Think about the language we used. Toxic masculinity, male privilege, patriarchy, rape culture. All real things, all worth naming and examining. But what did it feel like to be a 20-year-old man, hearing that his gender is toxic, that his existence in space is privilege that diminishes others?
It was probably a complete moral shift from, well, I hate to say it, but they basically destroyed these young people's childhoods and like teenage years. I get it, teenage years is usually not the best years for a lot of people, but this is actually horrible.
That he's part of system designed to oppress and harm. Even if he personally never did anything wrong, he's complicit. We meant it systemically, conceptually. They heard it personally. Some got defensive and angry. Those ones we could dismiss. Others took it to heart. Tried to fix themselves by removing themselves. Attend required faculty training on preventing sexual harassment. We're instructed on how to avoid any situation that could be misinterpreted. Don't meet with students behind closed doors. Don't communicate after hours. Don't develop friendships that could appear to show favoritism. Maintain...
Okay, the favoritism one makes perfect sense, though, because, like, a lot of people, it doesn't matter if they're in public or not, and favoritism still happens. Like, I hate to say it, but it happens in the workplace still, and it happens probably in school still. I know it shouldn't, but it does. I'm sorry.
Professional distance at all times. Realize we're giving these instructions to everyone now. Institutionalizing the separation we said we didn't want. Making it official policy that men and women can't be alone together because the risk is too great. We formalize the distrust. Next class session, watch my male students more carefully. They're not hostile, not checked out, not disrespectful. They're careful. So carefully, painfully careful. They wait for women to speak first.
So the easiest way I see as just an old cat on the internet would be to change this chorus. Like, the way this is right now is very broken. Yes, it is saying, but you gotta expand upon your topics. You gotta expand on your teachings. That way, people understand a bit more. Like, the way you're teaching is very rigidly, it feels like, and it can't be rigid. Yes, you have to respect these boundaries and all this other stuff, but like, it's more complicated. It's like it's not a black and white topic. Basically, it's like, hey, this is the ground rules, but these are the other stuff, and these are some of the other things. And yeah,
they measure their words. They take up minimal space. They make themselves small and quiet and unobtrusive. Everything we said we wanted. Except we also said we wanted engagement and dialogue and connection. Can't have both. They chose the safer option. Chose silence. After class, Marcus finally comes to office hours. First time all semester. He's so nervous, keeps apologizing for taking up my time, and eventually asks question about thesis he's developing. It's good question. Insightful. Shows he's been thinking deeply about material. Tell him this. Encourage him to develop it further. He looks relieved, but also sad somehow. Thank him for coming. Say, I wish more students engaged like this. He pauses at door and turns back. Says something that guts me. Says he almost didn't come because he didn't want to make me uncomfortable. Says he knows a lot of professors don't want to deal with male students one-on-one anymore. Says he gets it. Says he understands why. Doesn't blame anyone. But also says it's lonely. Trying to navigate college without mentorship or guidance or real connection to faculty.
This is also going to cause another problem without those connections, because these people are basically going in to eventually become the next generation of whatevers. Whether it's like leaders, politicians, doctors, whatever. And it's just like, I don't know if they're going to actually be able to make it. I'm not going to lie. Because it's going to be a very difficult relearning of things, and then it just takes someone to crash out on them for them to basically probably give up and hide. I don't know. Like, it's a very... I've known a lot of people, and I've known a lot of people with a lot of other baggage going on, so it's, I cannot exactly contextualize this very well.
Trying to figure out how to be good person when every possible action seems fraught, says most of his friends, have just given up on trying. Safer to keep head down, get degree, get out.
That's what I said.
Leaves before I can respond. Sit there for long time after he's gone. That word, lonely, echoes. Pull up more research. Studies on loneliness epidemic among young men.
There's the shoe on Had Video. She covered both sides.
Rates of suicide, depression, anxiety, all climbing. Social isolation increasing. Support systems, collapsing. We taught them that emotional vulnerability was okay, that they should talk about feelings. Then created an environment where they're afraid to connect with half the population.
Yeah.
Women's support systems often include men, friendships, and relationships, and mentorships. Men's support systems historically also included women. What happens when entire gender decides? Safest option is isolation from other gender.
That was an awkward pause. Yeah, but when that happens now, with everyone being alone, that's also probably another contributing factor to the birth rates plummeting, too. Not that I'm personally complaining, because this is going to sound a bit messed up, but I do feel like this planet is a bit overpopulated, unfortunately. But no, like in this case, like everyone's basically alone because no one really wants to talk to the other side anymore. And it's going to create a generation of very timid people. Like, yeah, it took me years to come out of my shell, but I did this to myself. This was before this, so...
Everyone ends up alone. Draft email to Marcus, telling him he's always welcome in office hours. Delete it because what if that's inappropriate? What if trying to encourage male student to visit is somehow wrong? To catch myself in the same calculation they're doing. Risk assessment on basic human professional interaction. We're all doing it now. Semester continues. Patterns hold.
That's not good.
Quiet men taking notes. Engaged women leading discussions. Careful distance maintained. Exactly what we said we wanted, except it feels hollow. Achievement unlocked, except prize, is emptiness. Give. Lecture on feminist ethics of care. Idea that relationships and interdependence should be centered in moral framework. Talk about importance of connection and community.
Like, I know, it never really needed to be a framework at all. It more or less was always about both sides coming together and just forming this bond that created basically something unique. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it because I've been like I said, out of the game for a long time, so it's kind of hard for me to really connect to that degree because, like, I don't remember. I don't remember how a lot of things felt anymore. That's basically how it is for me.
Male student raises hand for first time all semester. Everyone turns to look. It's that unusual.
Huh.
He asks how we're supposed to build those connections across gender when every interaction is potential minefield. Asks sincerely, not confrontationally. Whole class goes silent. Realize I don't have good answer. Fumble through something about thoughtfulness and communication and respect. Sounds hollow even to me. He nods politely, doesn't push back, doesn't argue. Just accepts non-answer and goes quiet again. Wish he'd argue. Wish any of them would. Conflict would at least be engagement.
Well, in this case, though, this is when the teacher should be sparking engagement back with them a bit more. Because they'll listen. Like, this is the whole point. Like, you guys are here taking my class, so listen up. Like, this is not a good answer that I gave you. So we need to brainstorm and get a better answer. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of the old ways were still better than the modern ways of teaching, I'm saying.
Attend academic conference in spring. Panel on gender relations in educational settings. Researcher presents data similar to what I've been finding. Young men's withdrawal, isolation, fear of interaction. During Q&A, senior, feminist, scholar stands up. Says, this framing gives too much credit to male fragility. Says, men have always found excuses to exclude women, and this is just new version. Says if men choose isolation over accountability, that's their problem. Audience applauds.
And again, there's nothing wrong with people having like opinions and stuff, but I feel like some of these people are the problem. Like, there, I said it. I'm not gonna tiptoe around it, but like, yeah, the chorus is broken, and that's how I see it. And I'm an outsider to this. You can't just applaud, like, oh no, you can't just assume that too much credit to fragility. Like, okay, if the role was reversed, how would that turn out? Seriously.
Want to stand up, want to object, want to present alternative interpretation. Stay seated. Afraid of how I'll be received, what it will mean for my reputation. Realize I'm doing same calculation the men are doing. Risk of speaking up versus cost of staying silent.
Speak up.
Silence wins.
Damn it.
Hate myself a little. Fly home feeling defeated. Decades of work, of progress, of fighting for important changes. Can't all be wrong.
It's not.
Protections we put in place matter.
It's not wrong. It's just gotta be presented better. Like, so far, what's been covered here hasn't been terrible. It's just needs a bit more refining. It's almost like this was pitched and never proofread as a chorus kind of thing.
Consciousness we raised matters. Voices we amplified matter. But somewhere in execution, something went wrong. Created system that protects by preventing, that ensures safety through separation. Solved some problems by creating new ones. Wonder if there was different path. Way to teach about power, without teaching fear.
It's easy. Yeah, it's not that hard, actually. It's basically just basic respect and boundaries for the most part. Like, you don't have to go crazy with it. I'm sorry, but I can't remember a lot of the stuff I was taught way back in the day because that's basically me trying to remember 40 years ago, and I cannot do that. My old brain, like, I don't even remember last week anymore. Like, I know my brain is starting to go on me.
Way to raise awareness without raising walls. Way to create accountability without creating paralysis. Maybe not.
Hmm.
Maybe this was inevitable. Maybe you can't dismantle system without collateral damage. But collateral is real people. Real young men learning to never reach out. Real young women wondering why men seem distant and afraid. Real connections never forming. Real loneliness metastasizing. End of semester. Grade final papers. Marcus writes brilliant thesis on feminist ethics. Concludes that current framework creates double bind for conscientious men
Hmm.
asked to recognize power and privilege, which requires self-awareness and engagement, but also asked to step back and make space, which requires withdrawal and silence. Can't do both. Men who choose engagement risk being seen as dominating. Men who choose withdrawal risk being seen as resistant.
Hmm.
Only winning move is not to play, so they don't. He writes all this carefully, respectfully, backing everything with sources.
Hmm.
Concludes that he still believes in gender equality, but doesn't know how to practice it without disappearing. Give him A, because paper is excellent. Also write long comments, saying his observations are valuable and important. Say, I hope he doesn't give up on engagement. Even as I write it, no, I'm asking him to take risks I'm not willing to take myself.
And that's a problem though, too. Like, if you're not gonna take the risks, you can't really ask others to take those risks more or less on your behalf, kind of thing. Like, come on. Like, if you want the class to really like succeed, you have to be willing to be put in the same situations as them, basically. In a way, you were, but you also did not stand up to anyone else either, like of your fellow peers as a teacher. So, like, you gotta be able to speak up a little bit too. I know nowadays, in certain places, it's
Can't
not
publish
really
my research.
well.
Can't speak up at conferences. Can't challenge prevailing narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But expect him to keep trying, keep risking, keep engaging. Hypocrisy tastes bitter. Summer break, have lunch with old friend from graduate school. She went into corporate HR. Now VP at major company. Talk about changes we've seen over decades. She tells me about company policies, about separation protocols, about fear. Says male executives now refuse to sponsor junior women. Won't travel together, won't have dinner meetings, won't provide opportunities that require one-on-one time. Company brought in consultants, tried training, tried incentives. Nothing works because fear is stronger than policy. Says quietly that she thinks we overcorrected. Says she can't say that at work would be career-ending. But watching women's advancement stall because men won't engage feels like losing ground we fought for. We sit in silence for a while.
At least they are agreeing on this, though. Like, they are talking about this and basically saying, not just them, people in general, because we are seeing this video too. So, if this does make it to YouTube, it probably will. At least I am doing a part by helping spread it too. Like, I know I am the bit of a clown on here, but like, sometimes I can do serious. It's not easy for me, but like, it has to be done sometimes.
Both thinking about paths that led here. Both complicit. Both trapped. She asks what we could have done differently. Don't have answer. Everything we fought for was necessary. Awareness of harassment, of assault, of discrimination, of microaggressions, all necessary.
Which is
accountability, consequences, belief of victims, all necessary.
Also, like, fair. Like, bad shit happens and stuff, and it has to be taught, basically, that this is wrong.
But implementation created climate of fear that's eating everything. Maybe there was no way to avoid this. Maybe this is just cost of progress, temporary adjustment period. But what if it's not temporary?
I don't think it will be temporary, because now this generation, if they do have children, but doubtful given how they're not really interacting, that generation's just gonna die off if that's the case. So, like, it's problematic. But if they can't be fixed, I think they just have to tweak how they teach it. They don't have to be so heavy with it. And I feel like a lot of the stuff should be open to the class to engage in discussion. I know they don't want to, more or less, but it's just like you gotta gotta push that. That way, you get that ball rolling, so they feel comfortable talking with you too, and possibly other classmates. Just that way, you can get that ball rolling for some discussion to roll around. That way, it's not an echo chamber. Well, you don't want it to be an echo chamber ever, but you just want them to feel comfortable so they'll be more likely to talk. And shit, I'm already forgetting stuff.
What if entire generation grows up never learning to connect across gender? What if separation becomes default? What if we've created permanent damage? Drive home crying again. Seems to be happening a lot lately. This wasn't supposed to be how it felt. This was supposed to feel like victory, like justice, like better world. Feels like everyone losing. Sit down and write essay I'll never publish. Title it, Men Went Silent Because of Us. Document everything I've found, everything I've realized. Write about intentions versus outcomes. Write about how the most conscientious men were most affected. Write about how we filtered for worse behavior by making good behavior impossible. Write about loneliness and isolation and fear. Write about my own crisis of faith. Write about still believing in equality while recognizing we've created new inequality.
No, like I said, it's just a core. It's just, if this is just a course on how to do this, they can tweak it and fix it. So, like, it isn't too late. I don't know when this came out though, because I don't know when this happened, like these timeline events, but it isn't still not too late to fit the course correct, basically.
Write about not knowing how to fix it. Write about being afraid to even try. Finish essay and save it in folder I'll never open. Too dangerous to share, too important to delete. Testimony to unintended consequences. Evidence of damage we didn't mean to cause. Apology to generation of young men we taught to disappear. Confession that we got it wrong somehow, even while getting it right. Sit in dark office, staring at screen. 45 years old, 23 years of feminist work, countless students taught. Dedicated life to making things better. Maybe did, maybe didn't, maybe both. Think about Marcus and Andrew, and all the quiet men in my classes.
No, like, I mean, they tried. It just didn't quite work out how they wanted it. Like, and that's gonna be the thing of anything that's being tried that's kind of new. You don't know how it's gonna perform the first time doing it without it basically being trial ran. And if this is the case in this class, in these kind of classes, then yeah, it makes sense.
Think about my son who doesn't date anymore. Think about my nephew who sits in back and says nothing. Think about data showing millions of young men withdrawing into isolation. We told them their presence could threaten, so they left. We told them to listen instead of speak, so they went silent. We told them to be aware of their power, so they became powerless. We told them women's comfort came first, so they removed themselves from equation. Perfect compliance with everything we asked.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this whole thing came with unforeseen consequences. Like, the loneliness epidemic. Like I said, I'm quoting Sean Head here, because I'm pretty sure this video popped up because of my reaction to her stuff. Not to bash anyone, I'm fine with it, like I said. But, like, that's the same with anything, though. Like, any kind of thing being put out in the wild, we do not know how it's gonna how things are gonna react. However, I do feel like the teacher, this lady whoever wrote, this lady who wrote this stuff, should have spoken up, though. Should have blown the whistle, like, not with a metaphorical whistle. Yeah, it might have been a career ender, but at the same time, again, like I said, it's the right thing to do.
Catastrophic result we never intended. Whisper to empty office. Men went silent because of us. Saying it aloud doesn't make it better. Doesn't fix anything. Doesn't give me answers. Just names the thing I can't unfeel. The knowing that sits heavy in chest. that decades of righteous work created shadow consequences, that intentions don't prevent damage, that we broke something while fixing something else, and I don't know how to unbroke it. Don't even know if I'm allowed to say it's broken.
The correct word would be unbreak, but okay.
Career and reputation rest on maintaining that everything we did was right. But sitting alone with research and data and testimonies of isolated young men can't maintain the certainty anymore. Something went wrong. Something is still going wrong. And we did it. Not maliciously, not intentionally, not with desire to harm, but we did it nonetheless. They went silent because of us. And the silence is deafening.
Well, that was a sudden end. That's how I think it was. Given the name, I'm pretty sure it's a AI read. 2 months ago, eh? So yeah, link to the original will be down below, guys. I know this was a bit heavier than my usual stuff, besides possibly some of the shoe stuff. We will be having more funny stuff next time. So look forward to that, and I don't know, spread awareness, I guess. Think about stuff. Like, that's all I can really do walking away from this, is just have a little bit more perspective, I guess I could say, on that, all that. So that's all for now. We'll catch you on the next one.